Hi Heritage, welcome to week 23 of your timeline song. This week we're on cards 155 to 161, the very last week. You guys have made it, and I'm so proud of you. Good job. Alright, so this week our first card is Age of Information and Globalization. So for Age of Information, we're just going to type on our computer keyboard, Age of Information. And for Globalization, you're going to take your hands and kind of trace around what would be a globe if you were holding that in your hands. And globalization, that information spread across the world, over the globe. Next card is Watergate and President Nixon resigns. So for Watergate, we're going to put one hand up. This is your Watergate building. Then with your other hand, you're going to take your two fingers, as though these are your eyes, and you're going to peek around. So you're peeking into the building and spying on what was happening there. So Watergate. And then for President Nixon, our sign for president starts at the forehead and comes out. President, and then an N for Nixon, resigns. So we've got Watergate and President Nixon resigns. The next card is the fall of communism in Eastern Europe. So we make our sign for fall, our sign for communism, and then for Eastern Europe, remember we're going to make our E, and we go around the side of that one ear on the side of our head. So the fall of communism in Eastern Europe. And the next card is European Union formed. So we're going to stay up there with our European sign, European. And for Union, we're going to bring our middle and thumb fingers together. European Union formed. So those come together. The next card is the Apartheid abolished in South Africa. So apartheid is a word in Afrikaans that means apartness. It was a time period in South Africa when there were laws that kept blacks and whites separate, and the rights that they had were different. So to show for apartheid, we're going to put our hands together, and then we're going to pull them apart. Those two were kept separate. And then for abolished, we're going to use our sign that we've used in the past for destroyed. So our hands come together, and then as they go across each other in the middle, you pull them back apart, almost like you're tearing a piece of paper. So it comes together and then apart. So apartheid abolished in South Africa. Then in the song, you'll hit a spot where it says 2000 AD. So we're going to make our 2, and then our sign for 1000, which is our 3 fingers for those 3 zeros down on our hand. 2000 AD, 2000 AD. And then we have September 11th, 2001. For this time we're going to go September 11th, 2001. So your arms here represent the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York that were standing. And then when the terrorist attack hit and the planes hit each tower, they crumbled to the ground. So September 11th, 2001. And then the last card in our timeline is the Rising Tide of Freedom. So you're going to have your hands bound. Remember our sign for freedom. You're bound, and then they're set free. So for Rising Tide of Freedom, you're going to start down here kind of at your chest level. We'll do it once, and then you're going to rise up, and you're going to do it again. So Rising Tide of Freedom, Rising Tide of Freedom. And then we hit the end of our timeline song, and it goes back to timeline, timeline, timeline. This is my timeline. And at one point it says, timeline, timeline, I am part of my timeline. So you're going to take your hand and put it kind of inside your other hand. You are a part of the timeline that's being created right now. You are a part of what will one day be history. So I'm part of my timeline. And then it goes timeline, timeline. And then it says, this is my timeline. And so we're going to make a sign from the beginning of the age of ancient empires to current day here. We're going to bring those two together, saying that whole time period, this whole thing is my timeline. And then it will end with timeline, timeline. This is my timeline. And that's it. You guys have made it all the way through the whole timeline of the world. Great work. Keep up the practicing, and yeah, have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon.